you like to give us a book report on Bloodborne, Brian?
Yes. So let's talk about Bloodborne. Who here has played Bloodborne?
I played Bloodborne.
You played a little bit.
I played
I played for like 5 minutes.
So I went through a very interesting experience with this game. I obviously was sort of scared to get into it because I haven't played any Souls games before, and people just kept telling me how punishing it is and how difficult it was. And I was just like, you know what? I don't really have that capacity in my life for a game like that. But I gave it a shot anyway. And I sat down and I went to play the first few hours. And what I saw immediately was that this is on just an incredible world, just unbelievably realized world, and that it was brutally difficult. But I did find myself like inching through the world to get better and better, little by little, until I got to, as somebody in the Podcast Beyond Facebook group called it, the first street with 20 dudes. And you get to this area in the first town where you've already defeated your first few enemies. You're not very good. You don't really know what's going on. Everything's very disorienting. You really have no idea what's happening. It's like being a newborn baby. And then all of a sudden there's 20 people on the street and they're trying to kill you. So you try 100 different ways of getting through them. And if you're good, you get through them on the first or fifth time. And if you're not, and you're me, it takes you 35 times to get up and down this block, kill everybody, and figure things out. So from there, I found myself at the Cleric Beast, who is the first boss in the game. He's sort of an optional boss. He's the guy that you see in a lot of the promotional stuff. He's the sort of this giant hairy white wolf with one arm bigger than the other. And you fight him on this broken, narrow street with these like crates overturned and carriages and dead horses everywhere, and he just smacks you against vases in the walls, and he kills you and screams at you, and you die, and there's a 42-second loading screen that says the word Bloodborne, and you stare at it, and then you go, all right, I'll do it again. So you run back down the street, you unlock a shortcut. Now you found a faster way to get to the Cleric Beast, and you get all the way to his front door again. You walk down, he howls at you, and he beats you in an even quicker time, and you go, I don't know what I'm doing. Then if you're me, you try 25 more times, and you pick up the controller, and you put it back down, and you go, you know what? I love this game. I love what it's doing. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. This is not for me. I know that in this time I could go play Axiom Verge. I could go play Hotline Miami. I could play something else that's sort of like immediately, instantly gratifying. So I went on the Podcast Beyond Facebook group, and I don't really do this where I like to say, like, when I'm experiencing a game, I don't like to just like jump on Twitter and be like, this thing sucks, or like this show's bad, or this movie's terrible. Like, I like to actually consume it, think about it, and let that go for a little bit, you know, and just kind of digest it a little bit, marinate. In this particular instance, I said, you know what? I've done everything I can do in this game. I'm never going to be the type of person that can really go back in and keep playing this and defeat this guy. So I'm going to go on the Beyond group and say, hey, you know, I should check in with you guys more often. There's 8,000 people in here. This is my experience with this game. It's amazing. I love the world. I love the combat. I love the character design. I love the bosses and art direction. Everything about it is fantastic, but it's not for me. And it's kicking my butt up and down, and I can't do it. And, you know, there was obviously a lot of responses to that. And some people said, totally with you. I've tried the same thing. I'm a father. I'm a mother. I have kids. I have a wife. I just don't have time for this. I have an hour to play this game. Other people said, you know, this is not the kind of game you can play in 10 or 20-minute chunks. You really have to sit down for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And some other people said, you know, get back out there. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop posting in Facebook. Get back in there, go die some more, and then talk to us about it.
It's like you went, like, dating is hard, guys. It's just, I don't think there's
and
anybody
that's
out there.
Totally it. And people are just kind of like, you know, no, I think all women are bad. It's like, well, no, they're not. The one you dated was terrible, but maybe the next one will be fine. So I sat there for a few hours, and I was like, you know what? This. You can write that down. There might be a few of these. I said, this, I'm going to go back and play Bloodborne. And I went back in and I started grinding. And the thing is that no one really tells you about this game is it's very much like an NES game where you have to go to school and talk to your friends about it. You know, like you have to go on the internet and go on message boards and people give you hints, and it's not everything's laid out in front of you. And, you know, Dan Stapleton, who's our reviews editor, he has some problems with the lack of sort of clarity and obviousness in the game design. And I agree that the first 2 hours of that game are designed specifically to make you not want to play the rest of it. They weed people out. And that's why I'm going to make a claim right now. Bloodborne is the Legends of the Hidden Temple of video games.
What?
And here's why. Legends of the Hidden Temple starts out with like 40 teams, right? Like 30 of them fall in the moat, and you never see them again. Yeah. And they don't get to interview Olmec. They don't get to go meet the temple guards in the cool maze. They don't win a pair of Ket shoes or a trip to Universal Orlando, Florida, or whatever, anything like that. Nothing. All the weak people get weeded out at the very beginning, and I was almost in the moat.
You were almost the blue barracudas.
I was almost the blue bear or the silver monkeys, and I decided, you know what? The hell with this. I'm gonna go back out there. I went back out there and I beat up that street of 20 dudes for 3 hours until I was level 15, and then I was level 20, and then I was level 24, and I went back to the cleric bees and I whipped his ass all over that street with the dead horse and the overturned carriage, and then from there I went downstairs and I beat the shit out of all of his friends, and then from there I went to the next boss and I whooped his ass on the first time, and now I'm level 55 and I'm a goddamn warrior, and I'm running around that game like it's mine, and it's amazing, and it's the best. It's one of the best feelings I've had playing a video game in a long time because there's a reward to it. There's a risk and reward to it, and it gives me moments of feeling like when you're carrying blood vials around and you're killing things and you have so much on you, and you go, I can go back right now and cash these in and level up, or
you
I can
turn like
turn
a
the
gambling
corner.
addict.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a gambling addict. And it reminds me of driving around in GTA Chinatown Wars on PSP with $50,000 of heroin in your trunk. And you go, I can go see the Rosses and get $25,000 worth of weed, or I can go back to the spot right now and cash in. I'm going to go see the Rosses. So you go see the Rosses, and the cops pull you over, and now you lose $75,000, and you could have had 50, but you almost had 75. So when you have 75, why not 100? So that's how I've been playing, and it's that risk and reward, and it's amazing. It's such a good feeling, and it's now turning into one of my favorite games of all time, and absolutely my favorite game this year. And I almost quit playing my favorite game this year, and I stuck with it, and now I can't stop thinking about
So
it.
I am at that exact same phase right now. I am on the verge. I'm like having that like bad.
Sorry for all the curses.
I'm having that like bad relationship where I'm like, guys, I think I have to dump her. I don't think I can do it. I just don't think this is for me. And then I go play.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. And then I leave, and I'm like, all I'm thinking about is that Bloodborne.
So I think that first hurdle is absolutely designed to get everybody out, and there are probably 100 or 200 smaller hurdles like that later on in the game, and they just keep coming. They keep coming. I got to one part where, and I won't spoil too much, but I was killed in a forest, and then instead of just seeing the "you are dead" screen like always, I woke up in a terrifying nightmare prison, and I got out of the nightmare prison, and I'm like. And I breathed a sigh of relief, and a wolf the size of a house jumped out of the sky and killed me.
But it's those moments. It's those amazing moments of like surprise and satisfaction that it makes all of that garbage worth it. Like, when you die over and over and you lose all these souls and you don't get to level up and you don't get to buy the fun new hat, you get that like "pray slaughtered" sign. And you put the controller down and you just like scream in your living room at the top of your lungs
Well,
just to get it out of your system.
Well, and there's like two different forms of joy there. There's the I fought a boss 10 times and finally beat him, or I fought a boss on the first time and I beat him.
Oh my
and
god!
Both of those feel so good.
Which I did with 2 bosses in a row now because I just leveled up onto the point where I'm amazing. That woman that turns into an elk,
Vicar Amelia.
and who was it?
Bloodstarved Beast.
And that guy. I mean. That guy was all talk.
Yeah.
Whooped his ass all up and down his little castle. So what I really do like about that, the sort of like hook and response that it does, is that when you do die and you have all your stuff on you, it gets either dropped in the world or it gets sucked into an enemy's eyeballs.
Yeah.
So if you have 50,000 blood vials or whatever, you could just shut the game off and be like, good night, or you could be like, my money's still out there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my money.
I'm gonna go find the
and you
fool.
go back
I'm
out
gonna
there in the
gouge
woods,
his eyes out.
and you run past 50 dudes that are all trying to kill you because everything in this game is just like everywhere you go, it's terrifying. So you go back out there and you kill the guy that stole your money, and you're like, yes, and then you run back to your spot and cash in, and it's such a good feeling. Like it's. I don't really get into a lot of horror games because I feel like a lot of horror games aren't scary. They really aren't. They try to be. They're all jump scares. It's all like it's the same.
You play PT?
Yeah, that legitimately changed things for me. But I thought like games like Outlast, it was like, oh, this grape ape is chasing you down the hallway.
Grape ape?
And there's
Is that a flavor of Count Chocula I've never had?
it's just like a big cartoon gorilla guy that's trying to kill you, and you're like, I don't care. Like, you're in the mental institution, isn't that spooky? Remember those? I'm like, no, I have no point of reference for that. But like, I've been in the woods, or I've been in like, I've been walking down the street by myself at night and hearing like noises, and you're like, are these
You've
my
seen a lady
footsteps?
turn into an elk.
I've been to a
Exactly.
Gothic cathedral where
I've been
inside
to
out
Gothic
dog man
cathedrals.
chased
Yeah,
me.
exactly. And that's where it's not that one single thing is scary about Bloodborne. Is that the entire world is atmospherically terrifying. It's just something designed to mess with you. And
So
it's-
I totally had no idea you were going that direction because I saw your post in the group and I was like, huh, interesting. Like that's kind of where I'm coming from. I haven't played that much of it. I sat on a 2-hour live stream and watched Brendan play it, and he's our like wiki guide guy. So
he's awesome.
Yeah, and I played for a second in there. You know, he gave me the controller, and I killed like a giant, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And I was like a leveled up character already, so probably didn't count that much, but like still dodging it and learning how to kind of control the basic game. I don't know, and then I think the loading times really are kind of a bummer. You know?
Yeah,
so they
patched them, right?
No,
they
are in theory being patched.
Yeah.
So we played this weekend. I swear to God, they're faster. Maybe I'm just like totally
you're
Stockholm
addicted,
syndrome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
the mescaline you and your girlfriend took.
My
Mitch,
bad. All the
I
Molly.
mean, you know, I hate to keep just beating this street full of dead horses here, but you played Dota,
Yeah.
which is absolutely a game that it's all about just repeating stuff and like going through the same thing again and just kind of grinding away.
So what I loved, and I was this will be my last anecdote about this. I mean, I'm going to keep playing this game, obviously, but when you first start out that street of 20 dudes, to the right, there's this guy, and he's like the size of a truck, and he's got this axe that's the size of a bigger truck, and you go, oh, I'm gonna fight him, and he basically one shot kills you like it's nothing. And later on in the game, you're fighting like 3 or 4 of them
That's
at a time.
exactly where I'm hitting the wall right now.
And
that spot.
But like once you understand the technique, you can go back to that guy in that first town where he just lives in this alley, and you just beat the hell out of him.
I am
in
so
seconds.
not scared of those 20 guys now. Like I'm having trouble now in the area where I'm at with like 4 crazy women with sickles than I am with that street of 20 guys.
And it reminds me of like it's overcoming any sort of adversity or addiction or any problem you've ever had in your life where you're just like, that seems like the most impossible thing in the world right now. But if I come back to the same exact scenario a year later, like I won't even think about it. Like when I quit smoking, right? Which like it'll be 3 years for me next month.
Attaboy.
I couldn't go to a bar. I couldn't stand outside of a bar without having to smell it and think about how I wanted it. And it was impossible. I couldn't deal with it. I was like scratchy and I was like, fuck, I really need this. And now that wasn't a whole curse. That was,
I know. I don't think I'm gonna write it down.
And now it's like I don't care. And that's how I feel playing Bloodborne. It's like that sort of rush of just being like, I'm improving. I'm feeling myself getting better. So I'm so glad I stuck with it. If you are on the fence about this game, or you started it and you fell into the moat with the blue barracudas and the silver monkeys, get back out there. Be a purple parrot.